Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, the 19th of March already, 2026. Hope everyone's having a fantastic year. We're joined today by Brigette, who is not only one of our eXp agents, but a friend of mine and someone who helped me sell my personal home a couple of years ago when I sold that one. And Brigette is here today to talk to us about referral-based business and what she does and how her experience has been. And because obviously there's three ways to try to get business. People come to us, people get referred to us, or we go and hunt the people. So obviously referral-based business can be a beautiful addition to your business, and referral-based business means you're looking after people and doing the right thing, and they're coming to you. So Brigitte, welcome. Thanks for joining us as a co-host on today's session.
Thank you very much. This is one of my very first co-host positions here, so I'm really proud to be able to share some of my experiences with you. So thank you. I thought what I would do, first of all, is just explain a little bit about me and how I got into real estate, just to give a bit of background. So I have been in real estate for over 20 years now, and I am deeply rooted in the community of Adelaide. So, I know the neighbourhoods, the people, and what really matters to families buying and selling here. So my background was I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left school, and my mum said to me, look, I'm going to pay for one more course. If you don't do this, then you're on your own, sort of thing. So I ended up going to I went to secretary school, and I learned, all of this stuff to do with admin, which was really great. And my first job out of secretary college was working for an advertising agency. And at the time, they were advertising in the paper. This would probably been 1999. So they were advertising for real estate agents in the paper. That was their gig. So I got a little bit of insight into that. I hadn't grown up with property as such. Irish publican was my dad, but I did grow up in a very Italian-dominated area. I went to Italian primary school, Italian high school. All my friends were Italian. And they've got a really good ethos about property, investing for their children and so on. So I think a little bit of that rubbed off on me. So my first job was an advertising agency. The second job in the year 2001 was as the sales secretary for Smaller Combe Real Estate at Burnside. So that eastern suburbs, I learnt all of the bits and pieces throughout the business for Smaller Combe, and then they promoted me to property management. So in 2002, doing property management, the height of technology was using a dictaphone, burning photos to a CD, using an electric typewriter. But what I did learn was that ground roots customer service, so like door knocking, resolving conflict, face-to-face communication, real foundational customer service skills that have done me in good stead for the rest of my life, really. So from there, I started and maintained 3 rent rolls for other businesses. I then got married and I had my children. And then while I was pregnant with my second child, I actually got my auctioneer's license and my diploma to get my RLA. And that was a really good decision for me to do that, because property management wasn't really conducive to having 2 kids and a husband at that time. So basically, what I've learnt is over the years, I've tried and tested every traditional method in the book. So your cold calling, your door knocking, your letterbox drops, and obviously aggressive prospecting campaigns. And some of it worked for me, some of it didn't. And being a mother and a wife, almost all of that was fairly exhausting. So I really wanted to try and work out what was right for me, my personality, and that truth about myself. So traditional methods can obviously generate leads, but they're really rarely where the best business comes from for me. So high quality, enjoyable, sustainable listings almost never originated from a cold call for me. And I just felt like there had to be a better way to build a pipeline that felt natural and consistent and generally rewarding. So what actually works for me is my relationships. That's the foundation of every listing that I get, and those real connections built over time with genuine care and consistency. The second most important thing for me is that trust. So clients don't choose the most qualified agent, in my experience. They just choose the one that they trust the most. So for me, it's my greatest competitive advantage. And then referrals. When that trust is earned, those referrals follow naturally. So the most consistent, enjoyable business always comes from people who already believe in me. So my philosophy is people don't choose the best agent. They choose the one that they're most comfortable with, that they trust the most. And I feel like listings are really a byproduct of that trust. So in the world of portals and algorithms and automated appraisals, the one thing for me that cannot be replicated is that genuine human connection. And I've always said real estate for me is the long game. So you have your short-term tactics. They produce short-term results to some respect, but if you build your business with a long-term mindset, those relationships compound, and that repeat business really sustains you for that life. So what I've done is I've tried to create my referral system, which is made up of raving fans. I've built up a network of people who are, a wide circle of advocates who are actively recommending me. I show up with energy. I have that confidence, that positivity. And what I really like doing is making people feel really important. My philosophy is listen deeply to them, find that common ground, and just make sure that everyone feels genuinely valued. So something that I do, which I'm not sure everyone does, but if somebody trusts you enough to refer you, I reward that. So the first referral they give me, I'll give them a $500 gift card. That's a meaningful gesture to show that you value their trust immediately. If they continue to refer you, then the second one might be a $1,000 gift card. And then the third, fourth, fifth, I'm going all out. We're doing a Barossa Valley getaway. We're creating an unforgettable experience that just turns them into like a lifelong raving fan. The other things that I do beyond those sort of rewards is like, I'll personally deliver Christmas gifts at Christmas time, constant check-ins, take them out for lunch, take them out for coffee. And, it just keeps my network warm all year round.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
My referral network is generally, I'm very active in the community. So I've got my school families that I'm connecting with. I'm involved in sporting clubs, charities events, on the Kensington Residents Association. I do a lot of networking, so I'll go to women's events, I'll do BNI, and it's just creating that referral system where people are talking about you without you being in the room. And I find that that's really important. So mindset's really important for me too. So I like to be the most confident person in the room, not arrogant, but I like to be certain. So it's really important for me that they, feel my energy before they listen to my strategy. So be confident, be positive, be certain. That's really important. And then what makes people feel important is obviously finding common ground. So before you go into once you're in the appraisal, instead of talking property straight away, you talk people. So, you discover their shared interests, the mutual connections. That's very big in Adelaide, obviously, shared experiences, and people obviously do business with people that they like and trust and they feel comfortable with. So I always say, and I think you've said this too, Bjorn, you've got one mouth and two ears. So always listen first, ask great questions, and then people can tell when you're actually preparing your next line when they're still talking. So genuinely just listen to them and understand what they're saying and give them that time of day, and people take that on. The other thing that I've noticed is that, real estate agents, we're really busy. We're always checking our watch, messages on the watch. We've got our phone there. I put my phone away. I give them 100% eye contact, presence in the room, because even though you feel like they're not seeing that check of the phone or that slight, you look at the phone, at the watch, people do pick up on that. And so that's sort of one thing that I'm really vigilant about as well. So I'll just skip over that. Yeah, so I just have a no pressure energy. So it's basically like detaching from the outcome. People know when they desperately need the listing, and it sort of repels them. So in a sense, you kind of become more curious, more calm, and infinitely more attractive to work with when you detach from that outcome. And I always lead with service. So instead of going on, how much is this property worth, or, what's the commission? It's more, how can I help this person and try and solve their problem? And I try to be calm. I try to be confident and just relaxed and interested and genuinely engaged in that person's story and how I can assist them. So
how much of your business would be referral based, would you say, Brigette, if you had to sort of look at a percentage of what you're transacting versus cold stuff?
25%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I guess, when you're working with people that know you, that have worked with you in the past, and they become your raving fans, you don't have to sell yourself either. A lot of people find themselves sitting in the living room or at the dining room table trying to sell the reason why they're the best option. And when you're sitting in front of a stranger, it's really hard because you've really got to try to establish a connection, establish some sort of friendship, establish some sort of trust, and it's all just cold stuff. Whereas if you're going into a referral based business lead, the client that you've helped previously has told their story. They've spoken about you highly. They've talked about your lovely personality, about your positive energy, and all those sorts of things. So all you really need to do is go in there and listen and find out what their problem is and then provide them with the solution. And it's really business to be lost. I mean, we've all lost business to people that have been referred by other agents before. I've lost business that's been referred by other agents in my farm area where the other agent hasn't sold anything in my farm area. But then I've also won a hell of a lot of business that's been referred to me at a higher percentage as well compared to other agents that have gone in there cold as well. So do you find that the referral business is obviously 95% of your business, but do you find that it's like attracts like, that your clients seem to be very similar to your past clients when you are referred to people, and it makes life easy because you've got the same sort of demographic, same sort of personality type you're dealing with, or do you find it just varies from everybody?
Does vary a little bit. I suppose, a lot of it is an extension of my friendship groups and the people that I've grown up with. So in a sense, yeah, they probably are similar to me. But then there's the occasional person that's like, like a BNI network, or, I meet somebody out at breakfast and then they refer me to somebody. A lot of the time they will refer because they think that person will suit me and like my style and approach. So I think that's where it's important that know that when you are out and about and you're networking, you're always on show. Do you know what I mean? Like you're always having to, put yourself forward in the best light, because you never know when that referral could come next. And I think also, real estate really is the long game. Look, this is not for everyone. I just wanted to explain how it works for me, because obviously I've done it for so long and I've worked out this is what I want to do, and I love it. But, it really is the long game. So if you build your network properly, it will literally feed you forever. You can do this career for life. And every connection that you make today is literally like a potential listing referral down the track. So I think that's really important to keep that in mind. It's not just you go to work like a traditional job where you go to work, you get on the phone for 8 hours and then you go home. You're sort of always doing it, right? And it becomes part of you. So whatever you put out there is literally what you're saying about yourself and your business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. Anyone got any questions so far for Brigette as what she's spoken about so far?
No, that was good. Thanks, Bridget. I'm just wondering, do you use Rex tracks at all to remind yourself how to follow the clients up?
Perhaps I am in the process of setting all of that up, and that's definitely something where I can improve. So yeah, I definitely use my CRM system, but probably not to its full potential. So there's probably a few things left on the side there that I can improve on. But yeah, Rex is an amazing system. But yeah, I just focus on that really high quality service with every client. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else got any questions for Brigette? No. Well, I'd just like to say, obviously, I sold my house when I upgraded to my current house, and we've got a fairly large team at eXp. So why did I ask Brigette if Brigette could be the one to help me out of everybody else at the team? And the reason was because I know Brigette, and I know that she's a loving, caring human being, but I also know that Brigette is a communicator. I also know Brigette has got fantastic communication skills. She always remains calm. She doesn't panic like I do at times. She's a very cool cat, as you'd say, very level-headed, very calm, very reassuring. And I remember when, Brigette came to have a look at the house, and I sort of said, look, is there anything I should be doing here? And I did have some other agents help, because it's very hard when you're selling your own house to understand what you could do. It's very easy when you go into somebody else's house to tell them what they need to do to recommend, but it's very hard when you're at your own house. So had some other agents come to, nah, don't bother doing that, Bjorn, don't bother doing this, don't bother doing that, don't bother doing this. And when I spoke to Brigette was like, yes, I would take your solar panels off your roof and get your roof painted because it's white and it looks ugly. So I would do that, Bjorn, definitely, and I would paint your concrete. And I'll definitely paint the bathroom, and I'll definitely do this, and I'll definitely do that. Now that's all extra additional costs and extra additional money. But Brigette and I, when we were marketing the home, I was full transparent with people when I was with Brigette at the Opens, just saying this is my property. Brigette handled all the negotiations, and Brigette and I, we managed to get a price which was $100,000 more than what I was expecting that I was going to get, and in some cases $150,000 more than other agents had told me, which was the other agents that I bought my property I was moving into from. So Brigette communicated with me when we were doing that through the negotiation process. I think there was one day where we had 6 or 7 phone calls where Brigette just communicated really, really well and just said, this person is this buyer is that, this buyer is here, I'm going to call these people back, this. And the people that ended up buying my house were actually somebody that Brigette knows because their mother, you knew their mother, was that right, Brigette? Was that how the story went? You knew their mum?
My life coach.
Yeah, the mother is the life coach, Brigette's life coach. And the 2 kids ended up purchasing the property, and Brigette, negotiated the price up from where it started to, I think, 80 grand more or something like that. But Brigette's communication was fantastic. She was always calm. She never shot me down on my price point. Other agents said, there's no way you're going to get that, Bjorn. It's not worth that, mate. Come on, mate, you're an agent. Brigette was like, well, let's give it a crack. Let's have a try, Bjorn. Let's go for it. So, thank you, Brigette, for doing that. But I can understand why people do refer people to you, because I trusted you with my home and you did an exceptional job. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And it's the type of person that you are and the energy, like you said, that you emit that gives that across. And you never, there was hope there. There was always hope. Yeah, Bjorn, maybe we could get more. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do that. Let's give it a crack. Let's give it 100% effort and energy. And Brigette did put in 100% effort and energy through that process. So would I recommend Brigette to other people? Absolutely. Absolutely, I would. And it comes down to that like, know, and trust. And Brigette, obviously people like you, they know you, and they trust you. They know you're competent. You've been doing it for 19 or 20 odd years, sorry. And you're a very, very likable and trustworthy person. So any final comments to add, Brigette?
Got a question for Brigette.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brigette, in your years of with referral business and that sort of thing, is there 1 or 2 that stand out that you look at and go, wow, I never believed I'd be given this opportunity with this person or this property, or you've ended up somewhere you didn't expect, and it's all because of a referral?
Oh, you put me on the spot there, Tim.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I think there was one in Beaumont that stood out, just when I sort of started to crack into the eastern suburbs. You have sometimes you don't believe in yourself enough to think, oh, well, I can sell a $2 million property, or I can sell something that's in my, and then this probably started another chapter of my life, in that I really enjoy helping retirees and people in that going to that next phase of life. So this lady, she was an elderly lady. She didn't have her children in Adelaide at the time. She'd lived in this property for 50 odd years. I think she'd spoken to one of my mum's friends, and they said, oh, look, give Brigette a call. And what I do, I pride myself on really being patient with these people, taking the time, not rushing, not having that sort of, push. I do things when people are ready, because I feel like that's what they need. And that whole experience was, for her, was unbelievable. I think that ended up being the most expensive property that I'd sold in Beaumont. It got over 2 million quite a few years ago now. And that sort of started me going, oh, I really enjoyed that. And I think this is probably where I want my direction to go with my business. So now I really offer that service to, people looking to downsize their family home that they've been living in for 50 years and so on. So it's helped me have my bit more of a specialist field in that sense. Whereas before I really didn't feel confident enough I didn't feel good enough that I could do it. So that was probably a tipping point for me. Yeah, Tim.
Yeah. It's amazing when you can get an opportunity to break through a glass ceiling that's not really there, but we perceive that it is. I had a situation where I'd done a lot of work for a builder. When I say a lot of work, maybe 2 or 3 running arounds. I'd not actually even sold. I was very impressed with the fact that I kept persisting to try and help and give him quality of information. And then I caught up with him one afternoon. It was a Friday afternoon. The guys who had their beers, all the different trades were there. And one of the plumbers come up to me and said, hey, Tim, I've got this block of land in the marina. Probably don't need it anymore. And I said, oh, that's next to one of the local doctors who has a home church, uses that for parking on. And he goes, yeah. I said, oh, you should just drop in and knock on his door. And he said, oh, well, hold on a second. Aren't you my agent? I went, yes, I can be. Yes. He goes, well, do your job. Now, I hadn't earned it other than I'd done all this work for the builder that was his mate. But his mate had obviously said, should give Tim a crack. Well, I went and knocked on the doctor's door. The doctor said, oh my God, they're selling my car park. We negotiated a fee, just handshake agreement, went back, handshake agreement, everything went together. I've now sold 14 properties for that plumber.
Yeah. So
It's
good.
just amazing how little things can make a difference. Just keep putting your best foot forward, referring, looking after people, and you're sowing seeds all the time of opportunities for everything to come together.
Yeah. And it works both ways as well, because a lot of people say, oh, agents only look after the vendor. When you're also looking after the buyer, and the buyer has
Of
such
course.
experience that they then go, well, they become sellers eventually as well. And then they're telling their friends, they're telling their family, even sometimes if they've missed out on it, Bjorn, I think we've experienced this where, you just go above and beyond for every single buyer that's taken the time
Yep.
to buy the property.
Do you find a lot of buyers come back and reuse you years later?
They do. And sometimes it's years later. And that's why I say real estate is the long game. If you're in it for the long haul, it works for you. Especially if it's Adelaide where, it's such a tight-knit little community. If you're doing the wrong thing in real estate, you don't last. But if you do the right thing by people, you build a business that lasts a lifetime. So that's what I pride myself on.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything that they'd like to ask Brigette, or anything they'd like to add? Renz.
Hey guys. Sorry, I'm just coming home and left the car. I just want to give Brigette a testimonial because we actually helped each other out on a few listings, and in line with referral business and all that. I thought it was very cool to see how big Brigette's network is actually, because it was at one stage I was actually selling a property for a client that I met through door knocking, and for me, a complete stranger that eventually ended up being a vendor that I was selling for, and Brigette helped me out on the listing. And then when sitting at the kitchen table with these vendors, and then sort of naturally conversation evolved, and Brigette's like, hey, I actually do. Did we go to the same school? Or so Brigette will tell you better what happened. But like from knowing that my vendors or my clientele, that helped a lot in creating that trust. But then during the sale of the house, actually it appeared that there were like 2 or 3 buyers who also already had known Brigette. So I think it's just a testimonial to you, Brigette, that like what you have been doing, and by what looks like what you are doing with your videos and your podcast or social media stuff. Like I think that will just probably do more and more for you if and probably like I said, testimonial to your already huge network.
Thank you, Renz. Yeah, that was fun. Like I said, growing up in Ross Trevor and being with the Italians, I think that one was in Campbelltown, and it was a sister's friend, and they'd been in a youth group together for years, and it's nice. It gives me the warm and fuzzies. I love networking. I love just knowing people and getting out there and talking, and it just doesn't feel like work for me, so that's why I do it.
You know what's interesting? It's like I've rang Brigette before in the past, and I've said, so you've got a property at XY Street. Tell us about this one. And Brigette doesn't go, well, it's 4 bedrooms, it's 2 bathrooms. Well, it's a lovely old lady who owns this property. I actually knew her through my mum's friends from church. She's a gorgeous lady. She needs to downsize. But she goes into the personal situation. You're asking about the property, and Brigette tells you about the person before the property. And that subconsciously, Brigette does put the people before the property, and she makes it about people, and people feel comfortable with you, which is why they want to do business with you. And that is a real testament to you, because I think people are either attracted to agents and we have an attraction based business, or we have to hunt. And hunting is a lot of work. Hunting is a lot of work. When you've just got to look after one client and make them feel special, and make them feel so special that when they hear the word real estate, they don't see anything except for you. They don't think of anybody except for you. That's a lot easier than trying to hunt 100 strangers. You might have to talk to 100 strangers to get one appraisal, for example, and you might have to do 10 appraisals to get one listing when you're dealing with strangers. But if you're looking after people, like Brigette said, taking them out for lunch, you know, Haley and I had a similar thing. We had a massive run last year of one property that led to another, that led to another, that led to another. And Haley and I used to take them to the casino for lunch and for dinner. So we'd go out to the casino for lunch and we'd get a couple $100 of gambling money each. Those couples referred business upon business upon business. There's lots of different ways about doing it, but I think just making people feel like people, making people feel human, understanding that you understand their situation and that you're there to help them, not there to make money, but your primary focus is to help them. And then, yes, money's a byproduct. But I think a lot of us go in there trying to figure out how can we make money, and then helping the people is a byproduct. And people can smell that a mile away. And I know Brigette doesn't look at the dollars and cents of things and you know, how do I get this client to sign up? It's like, well, what's the problem I can solve here? And how can I help these people move forward? And I think when you are an agent that focuses on solving problems, like we speak about all the time, and you're an agent where your sole focus is to help somebody get from where they are to where they want to be, once you start focusing business like that, you do become an attraction agent, you do become a referral agent, and money just becomes a byproduct of you helping other people. And, you know, me, myself, majority of my business is referred. I know a lot of people on the screen, majority of their business is referred as well. So well done, Brigette. Good presentation, and thanks for sharing.
I just sort of add one more thing, and what I'm trying to do now is sort of connect the dots. So then you're going out, you're meeting people, you've got your cards or your way of giving them your information. And then what I'm trying to do now is build up a bit more of a social media following. So then they hear about me, then they can go to my page. I'm then adding some sort of real estate value. I might do a few funny things, but then I'm adding value to my page. So, you know, I might give them tips on styling or what's worked for me in the past. So just trying to connect the dots so that then, yes, they find out I'm a nice person and, you know, I sold, you know, Judy's property down the road, whatever. But then it's also then backed up by me being a specialist in real estate. So that connects the dots for them to be able to call me and go, oh, okay, you look like you know what you're doing. You've got a cool following. You've got a good page. So let's see how we go. But I've just sort of tried to be a bit more consistent with my social media, like Fran said, and have a bit of fun with it. But yeah, you also need that. You've got to have the likability, but then you've also got to have the skills and the social proof, the trust to back it up with. So, yeah.
Now, one of the other things that I've found is great for us as eXp agents is we don't have an office, right? And that has been the best thing for, like, Eric's asked Brigette a question, or I think Tim asked a question to Brigette. Do a lot of your sellers come back to you? Now, when I was in the office, I don't know about you, Brigette, share your experience on this, but now we have to go and meet the client at the house. Like, I've got a settlement today. I'm going to go meet them at the house, show them through the house, give them their gift basket, take a photo, do a little video, see if I can get a testimonial out of them, all these sorts of things, but make it a fun day. We always bring 2 bottles of champagne, one to pop everywhere and spray everywhere, and another one for them to drink. And it's a lot of fun. But I've noticed that now that we've been in eXp coming up 6 years, there's people that I've sold for 4 or 5 years ago at eXp, and there's a lot more eXp business coming back to me than what there was Weeks and Macklin business coming back to me when I was at Weeks and Macklin and said, oh, come into the office, see my personal assistant. She's got a gift basket for you. She'll give you the keys. Because that was sort of like throwing people to the orphanage. So I think the fact that we don't have a choice but to meet people at the house as well is another avenue that builds on that with the buyers. And they go, wow, that was such a great handover experience when I purchased the property. And so then that makes them want to do business with you moving forwards. Have you found the same?
Are the brand. So gone are the days of people going, calling somebody because of a logo, right? I think that if you are that, so you are your personal walking brand. So if you're going there, you're spending time with them, you're making it a really fun experience, you're popping the champagne, you're doing all of that. connecting that back to then social media, you become this like cult following of this, wow, this real estate agent's awesome. Half the time my business, my clients don't even know who I work with. They actually, I had one situation in Kensington where I was signing up the sales agency agreement. I'd been dealing with this lady. She's a neighbour of mine. I'd been sort of working with her to get her business probably 5 years, right? And then she called me and she goes, yeah, we've bought a house, it's time. So I went down there, got her to fill out the sales agency agreement. She signed it. And then you know what she said to me? Oh, by the way, who do you work for? She didn't know the company because it was me that she was wanting. So that was a contest to like this whole, and back in the day it was the logo, but you look at different characters like Mr. Beast, you look at like the, you know, the PTs of the world, they're making billions and millions of dollars just from having this personal brand awareness on social media and backing it up with whatever their business is. But yeah, I found that really interesting. That's such a massive shift from where we used to be in real estate, you know, 2 decades ago to where we are now. So, yeah.
And I guess that's the thing. Everybody's online nowadays. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, they're on Google, they're on realestate.com, they're on Domain, they're on ChatGPT, they're everywhere. And so you do need to have a presence on there. And if you are a stranger to somebody else, the best thing to make them feel like they know you is by video testimonials and photos of happy clients and past clients and just good positive energies. People go, oh, look, everybody else seems to like this person and trust this person and speak highly of this person. Maybe I will too. But a lot of the social media marketing you see out there, like what is your house worth and, you know, free appraisals in the area. It's been done a million times over, and it's just sort of not working. It's always frustrating when, you know, you put a lot of work into a property and then they go, oh, I've gone with my uncle's son or my nephew, or I've gone with my cousin or whatever. Even though they're not really that experienced, you know, I've gone with somebody that I know. Appreciate your help. And it's like they've always used you for all of the information, pricing and strategy and all this other stuff. And then they've just gone with somebody that they know. Do you know what I mean? So nothing will beat word of mouth. Nothing will beat referrals. My dad used to always say to me when I was a kid, he would say, do something properly or don't do it at all. Tell people the truth. Don't make anything up. You'll lose a lot of business, but the business that you get will be good business. And then that good business will lead to more good business because those people will talk to other people, and word of mouth is the best marketing. It's free. It doesn't cost you a lot of money. You know, $500 worth of referral fee, that could be the equivalent to, you know, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 worth of running ads, for example, to try to find a stranger, you know. So well done, Brigette. You're doing a great job, and it's good to have you on the team. Let's see if there's any questions in the chat box. What is Brigette's Facebook page, please? Brigette's popped it in there. Where can we find your podcast? Jenny is asking.
That must be this recording, so we'll just pop it in the chat after, won't we?
Any other questions for Brigette? Anything you'd like to add, Lisa?
Can I just ask a question?
Go for it, Judy.
Brigette, do you ever walk away from what doesn't feel right for you? Where, you know, when you go into talking about authentic and honesty?
I definitely do. Yeah, because like I'm a mum, I've got 2 kids, I've got a husband, I've got an extremely busy lifestyle. And so for me, spending time with quality people and people that need me and want me is more important than just taking a listing for the sake of it, definitely. The other thing that I just will share with you, which I had a really good outcome for, is I did that 9-day hybrid selling strategy for Bjorn that you promote with my own property recently, okay? And so I renovated this property to within an inch of its life. I did everything I could to make it, you know, from the experience that we had in Windvale Bjorn, I did everything I could to make sure that it was just perfect. Anyway, I've never lived in the property, so it's not, wasn't front of mind. So it never, ever, ever occurred to me that there was an issue with stormwater, okay? It just didn't occur to me. No one told me. I had a plumbing living in the property. No one told me it didn't have a stormwater system. The weekend of my opens was the, you know, once in 100-year storm, okay? Wow. So we were doing a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday opens, initial offers Tuesday, best offers by Wednesday. By Saturday, I thought, oh, my God, something's not right here. And then people were sort of talking this and that. And I realized that there was no stormwater. So the water was just going into the house. So I'm not sure what most agents would do. But anyway, this is what I did. So on the Monday morning, I got a plumber there. I said, right, I need a full assessment. I need a report on this. What's happening? He did the report. I paid the money. And then he gave me a quote to repair. It probably was quite high. It was 30,000, 25,000 to do a new stormwater system. By that stage, I had 5 offers. What I did was a full disclosure to every single person that had come through and that had put the offer in. I said, look, I am actually the owner of the property. I've renovated this property. It was unbeknownst to me that there was no stormwater system. I want full transparency and disclosure here. If you are still interested in moving forward with your offer, I would like your offer to reflect the fact that there is no stormwater system. Please get a building inspection, but just it'll be noted on the contract that this has happened. Anyway, so I had 5 offers. One of them pulled out. 4 of them went through. The one lady that bought the property, she had renovated her own property with her husband exactly the same as what I had done. She was getting a divorce. She was a single mum. She loved the home. She came up to a really good price. She got her building inspection done. It was all disclosed. And by the end of it, she got the property. And by the end of it, she said, this experience has been unbelievable for me. I put in offers on so many different properties. None of them have done it like you've done it. You know, I appreciate the transparency. I'm going to tell everyone about you. She's going to do a video testimonial for me. And the other people that missed out also said the same thing. So from going to a really difficult situation where I did take a bit of a hit on the money, more importantly for me, it was like being honest about that transaction. And obviously I was the owner, but also as an agent, you know, how can you walk away from that knowing that you haven't done the right thing? So that was a really good experience for me. And and something that I'll probably reap the benefits from that trust, transparency and honesty. Yeah, it was good.
100%. Imagine you hadn't done that, right? And that you didn't even, let's just say you didn't know about the stormwater and, you know, God didn't make it rain for you to understand all this stuff that's going on, right? It's almost like it was all meant to be. But let's say you hadn't disclosed it. Could you imagine the conversations been going on? Oh, yeah, I bought this house off this freaking dodgy real estate agent and it's got no bloody stormwater, right? Who is it? It's Brigette Connery. Hello, Auntie Nonna from Italy. How you been? Yeah, I bought this house with this dodgy real estate agent that didn't even have any stormwater. But instead, it's gone the complete opposite, like 100% disclosure, 100% transparency. Wow, she was amazing. She wanted my price to reflect what was going on there. She's 100% honest. Like, honestly, this was her own house. Like, this is somebody that you can trust, and trust is a must. You know, trust. Without trust, you have no business. You don't have a business. So that's well done, Brigette. That's a good story to hear.
And you might have lost 40 grand or whatever. You're going to make that back tenfold as well. And that's ethics in real estate. You know, a lot of agents would have gone, oh, let's just take it to auction and we won't disclose it, and they buy it as is and all that sort of thing, you know. So that's exactly that we're talking about, ethics in real estate. So that's awesome. And just, sorry, I was late. I had a meeting with Felix, but so just with personal branding, you're talking about video testimonials, Bjorn. I think it's a great idea to get video testimonials, and if you're new, then get them from people that you know that know you well. You know, if you haven't had listings and sales before, get people that are maybe well known in your area, people that can vouch for your honesty, your ethics, you know, all that sort of thing. And video testimonials are so amazing. I used to use them all the time. So you've got them on your phone, and it might be a little old lady that you've got a video testimonial from, and you're doing an appraisal at a little old lady. Let her watch that video. You know, they've probably got some of the same concerns and everything else. So, you know, those video testimonials, they're in your hand to use at appraisals. They're on your website. They're everywhere. And like, I always read reviews, always, because, you know, even there might be somebody complaining about something, but you might, you know, at least you can make up your own mind. You can say, well, that's okay. Or, you know, I'm prepared to have that, but then they'll tell you something else that you don't know. So most people will watch video testimonials. I know I do. And just use them everywhere. You know, that's probably the only thing that I want to say, Bjorn. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, Bjorn, that we can sort of have a conversation about? Anything that's come up or anything?
What Brigette was saying about disclosure, right? I'll share a video testimonial now, right? It was just shot on the iPhone. It was similar to what Brigette said. This lady called me over. Her house was falling apart. It was built by a certain builder, steel frame, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Had all these issues, all these problems. She was a very, very godly woman, okay? And she said to me, more importantly than money, Bjorn, I need this to be an honest transaction. And I said, okay, well, we'll do an auction on the property and we'll have full disclosure. We'll show all the reports. We'll show all of the reports regarding the issues and the damage at the property, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we ended up selling the property, but there was full disclosure. And most people, like I said, would do an auction and they would try to do an auction to hide the fact that there were issues with the property. People that bought the property understand that it's probably going to be about $30,000 worth of underpinning, but the price reflected that and everything was disclosed. And this is the testimonial that she gave at the end of the day. So.
Can't hear it, Bjorn.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No, we can read it though.
Yeah.
You could do the voiceover, Bjorn.
I could. So she was basically crying. She's holding back tears. And for her, it wasn't about trying to get money out of people. It was about her being right with God and her understanding that she hasn't done anything wrong, right? So she wanted to make sure that first and foremost, like whether you believe in God or not, it's not about that, right? But before and first and foremost, she wanted to make sure that whoever was purchasing her property knew exactly what was going on with the property, right? And so she was basically just saying about, you know, she'd spoken to other agents and they were telling her not to disclose anything, you're crazy, da da da. And she said to me, Bjorn, and I said, I think you should disclose this. I think you should be honest with this because karma is a real thing. And, you know, you do the wrong thing and the wrong thing comes back. You do the right thing and the right thing comes back. And we got the property sold and it sold for a slightly lower price, but it got about 30 grand more than what she was expecting for it. So just because you're being honest doesn't mean that it's not going to attract the highest price. You don't have to be dodgy. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to do anything untoward to get the best price. And often facts, when you are disclosing things to people, by the way, letting you know this property has had some movement, some ground issues. There's the reports there in the Form 1. This is where it's moved. Da, 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 da. This is what's required. This is a report for you to have a look at. That gets respect. And nothing is more powerful than having clients that respect who you are as a person and as a professional and as an agent, because respect is something that's earned, not something that's just given. And respect is something that's earned by being honest, and respect is something that's earned by being real with people. And so I think whoever you are out there, whatever you're doing, in order for you to become a referral based agent, you just need to be real. You just need to be yourself. And you just need to be honest with people, you know. I'm a Port Adelaide supporter. Don't shoot me down. But when I go into a house and there's full of crows memorabilia, the first thing I'll say is, oh, guys, I hate to say this, you might want to kick me out now, but I'm actually a Port supporter. Do you want me to leave? And we'll have a joke about it. But I don't go, oh, wow, the Crows. I love the Crows. Oh, yeah, I'm a Crows supporter too. I don't pretend to be somebody that I'm not. And I'm sure Brigette does the same. And that's why Brigette, keep it real, as to speak. Hey, Brigette.
Absolutely. And I'll just speak to Judy's question as well, because I'm focusing a bit more on like building up that social brand, like I said. So testimonials, Google, Ignite. Google is really, really good for your business. It's free. And if you can I generally don't ask for the Google review straight away. I usually wait a little while and still sort of build that relationship up. So yeah, definitely focus on improving and getting those Google reviews up, because then and I'm not very good at the technology side, but I know other friends have people have searched for a real estate agent in the area, and if you've got all of your Google stuff on there, it comes up, your name comes up. The other thing to do on Google is to put property photos. So put photos onto Google, just load them up so that when people look at you, it's like, oh, they've sold this house, they've sold that house. And there's a whole link there that people refer to because they're on Google all the time. I also get reviews on Rate My Agent. So you can have a free Rate My Agent. And then I always get one for REA. So making sure that I've got my testimony. I think I've got about 50. I could probably improve that. But the REA one, you can only do it once the property's sold. And usually I send it immediately once the property's sold, because they're excited excited, they're in positive mood, anywhere from sold to settlement, things can happen. So that's where I get the REA review and the rate my agent review at the same time. Yeah.
So would you put multiple links out to the same person for reviews?
I do, because what I say to them is, look, probably the easiest thing is just to copy and paste it. So you send them one email with all of the link.
Okay.
They can copy and paste it, and it's a bit easier for them. But I just make sure my minimum that I get is my REA and my rate my agent at the moment, but that might change.
My latest sale, they're actually bugging me for the review. They're like, you haven't sent it through yet. So yeah.
Personally, I would try and focus on one, because if you see some of the agents will just focus on, say, Rate My Agent, or they just focus on Google, you might want to do that, or you might want to have a mixture of both. It just depends your marketing strategy. If you want to send everybody to Google, or you want to send everybody to Rate My Agent, or whatever your marketing strategy is. But also too, I think Judy has said something about, is there certain people you wouldn't deal with? Was that something you said? Is that what you said?
Yes. Well, I had that situation where I had somebody approach me and asked me to cold call a house that it was a waterfront property, because they wanted to buy it. So after knocking on the door, I left a handwritten message, and the person got back to me, and he's a bit of a hermit, and he called me and said, yes, I'll sell $600,000. It's theirs. And that immediately got me going, like, whoa, what are you talking about? It's a waterfront property. So I asked him what his plan was. Where would he go? And he said, I'll go out of here in a box. So I hung up from him and started making phone calls to find out if there was any family about. And I got put on to his daughter, who lives in Melbourne, and he has been suicidal before. So she had the police go do a welfare check, and then they flew out. And I told the client, I'm out. Like he is not capable of making a decision to sell $1 million property, and I just won't be part of it. So the client was very upset with me, but because I'd made quite a few phone calls to find the family, and I live in a fairly small town, I have strangers come up to me and go, well done. So if you talk the long game, I think it'll pay off. And I wouldn't do it anyways. I couldn't sleep at night.
Oh, good. That's how you should be transacting as an agent. If it doesn't feel right, if it's not ethical, you shouldn't be doing it. I always go by a verse in the Bible, Mark 8:36. What shall it profit a man if you gain the whole world and lose your own soul? Once again, all that aside, but what does it mean if you gather all this money, but you're doing all this soul destroying stuff to other people, or you're doing the wrong thing by other people to gain money? I'd rather be poor sleeping in a paddock under a tent than to be ripping people off or doing the wrong thing by other people. When it comes to review sites as well, just understand that Facebook and Instagram are basically the same thing. They're linked, and that Google and YouTube are linked as well. So you asked where you should put the reviews. I think everybody should put them on Facebook or onto Instagram, and you should put them onto YouTube or onto Google. Written testimonials, I use Rate My Agent. I've gone down Rate My Agent. I've got like 485 reviews on Rate My Agent. So I haven't done the REA reviews. I've stuck with Rate My Agent because it's based on customer client reviews. But I find the most powerful reviews and testimonials are where you go, hey, do you mind saying a few words on camera, and then just getting a camera out. And it's always good if it's an auction, you get the auctioneer to do it. If there's two agents on a property, like if I'm assisting agent and it's Brigette's property, I'll go up to the vendor and say, hey, would you mind saying a few nice words about Brigitte? Because it's easier to do it. If it's just you and them, you can say, hey, would you mind just having a little bit of a chat about how you found the experience? You're like, hey guys, I'm here with Rebecca and Tom. We just sold the house, guys. How did you find it? You know, because then when you're sitting in a lounge room with people and you say, look, you tell stories about, well, we just sold a property for Rebecca and Tom down the road. It was very similar to your house, and they were in a very similar situation to you. They had a situation where they had to find something to buy. They didn't want to be left homeless, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what we actually did for Rebecca and Tom. And you tell the story and tell the story. And then you tell more stories about more people's circumstances. And then you go and have a look around the home. And then you come back and sit at the table and you talk about some more stuff. And then when you pull your phone out to look at something, actually, by the way, I think I've got a video of Rebecca and Tom here. Let me just find, oh, there it is. That's Rebecca and Tom that I was telling you about earlier, and you showed them the video. And remember the other couple I told you about, Sam and Tony? That's them as well. And then it's like you play them the video of the client saying about the circumstances and how you help them, which is exactly the same as the story that you planted the seed with earlier. And then all of a sudden, they're thinking, oh, yeah, you're telling these stories. What a crock of BS. Like, here we go, typical salesperson. Then you go away from it and then you come back to it and you show the video, and then it's automatically gives you 100% confirmation that everything you've said was true and honest, and you've got social proof of it. And then all of a sudden, all the guards come right down and they start being honest and open with you. So I think video testimonials, Brigette, would you say they're the best out of all the testimonial types? What would you think?
All they want to watch is videos. It engages people, you know, gone are the days of them reading, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think it's our job to, you know, to protect consumers from other real estate agents as well. You know, I always felt that, you know, if I was sitting against somebody who was sitting opposite somebody who was, say, vulnerable, or you know, a little old lady or something like that, I wouldn't want another agent to get their hands on them. You know, I'd be like, you know what, I have to take care of this person because somebody else is going to rip them off if they don't, you know. So I think it's, you know, your motivation can change with different people as well. And, you know, I think it's just, you know, putting that person ahead of anything else, and how do I solve their problems? How do I look after them? And how do I get them the best result? I think that's what we all should be, you know, thinking about when you're in that listing presentation. And again, that, you know, there's so much involved in ethics and all that sort of stuff, that I think it's our duty to do that, you know. Yeah.
On that, speaking about my presentation about building a referral network of people, like your army of people that are referring your business, they know me as an agent is always going to do the right thing by people. So they say to me, they need you, Brigette. Like that, they cannot be another agent. They need you. They're elderly, or they need somebody to trust. They've never done it before. They need you. So if you've got that beautiful referral network set up of all these people that know, like, and trust you and understand what you're like as an agent, that wins every time. Yeah.
Our job is to create raving fans. That's what I think. You know, people that just go, oh my God, Brigette's amazing, Judy's amazing, Bjorn's amazing. You know, that's our job, is to create those people that just go, oh my gosh, you know, you have to go with them. And then you've got, you know, it's great for you to tell people how great you are, but like Bjorn said, you know, video testimonials, it's somebody's putting their reputation on the line for you to say that you're good, and say that, you know, these people are putting their reputation on the line for me. You know, I can say it, but these other people are saying it, because it's a scary thing when you're choosing a real estate agent. But if you've got somebody that's, you know, backing you up, it's evidence, you know, undisputable evidence. Yeah.
And referral partners don't have to be people that you've just sold for in the past, or people that have just bought from you in the past. It could be a carpet layer. It could be a carpet or a flooring store. It could be a painter. It could be a home maintenance man. It could be, you know, anybody, a builder. It could be
going to different events, going to women's lunches, you know, taking the plumber to lunch, you know, doing B&Is. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but, you know, give stuff a try. It can come from anywhere. And a lot of my referrals will come from lawyers or financial advisors. So they're advising people, hey, you know, you need to sell your properties. So you need to get Brigette on board, you know, things like that. People referring business to you. That's really, really important.
And the other thing, if you can get a video testimonial from some of those people, because you're tagging those people in on Facebook, you're putting them in on YouTube and everything, and then you're tapping into their network of people. Oh, I know John Smith, a solicitor. Oh, they're recommending Brigette. Oh, wow. You know, and so you've got your network, and then it's exposing you to all of their network as well. So, you know, the more video testimonials you get, you know, from local celebrities in your area, business people or whatever, it's just endorsing you. Is Eric's given us the time?
No, Eric's has got some things to add, so we'll flick over to
Oh,
Eric.
awesome. Okay, go, Erics.
Yeah, thanks very much. Bridget, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for agreeing to do that and giving such a great session. I think what was really great was the fact that there was so much, to and fro and questions being brought up there. One of the reports I put out during the week was, sharing the fact that we all come from different backgrounds, and some people come from offices that they have to lie, cheat, and steal to make things happen. So they can't trust their co-workers, they can't trust their boss. The person that's looking across will steal information out their file or lie to the client to take their business over. And all sorts of places from my discussions with other agents. And I'm not going to name names because that's not fair. And we've come to eXp with our different expectations. And I appreciate the fact that this week people are just a bit more open about stuff and shared stuff they probably didn't want to before. So please keep doing that. That's what this is about, to actually not just trust Bridget as the real estate agent, but actually trust each other that you're not going to be screwed over when they're an eXp. And if you have got an issue, bring it up to management. And otherwise, I ask you to go on trust. But thanks for that. So a few other bits, just quickly. For those that aren't aware, Rex Essentials is on every Thursday, 11:30 to 12. So if you want to know what's going on, jump on those sessions each week or watch the reviews on Thursdays. The other one is, quickly mentioned, eXp Connect is on the 4th of May. It's $75 a ticket until the 25th of March, and it's $99. It's a full day. I think it's 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Stanford in the city. So obviously a great opportunity to catch up with people and whatever. And we'll discuss that further over the next few weeks. Next one is Property Edge. I've had a bit of to and fro's with a few people, but we don't have the numbers for it. If you are interested in signing up with Property Edge, you need to do that on your lonesome. If you do sign up, just let me know as a courtesy, so we know what's going on. If someone's got strong views on that, please bring it up to a messenger group or at a meeting. And the other one is tech tools. There's one or two people who've got stuff to share, and we'll probably do that next week. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Awesome.
I think with that May the 4th, when we've got the conference, it is an eXp exclusive conference for agents here in South Australia. They're going all the way around the country. So it is being put on by eXp for eXp. So it's not a non-eXp event. It is exclusively eXp event. So I think we should all try to get along to that if we can. As Eric said, that'll be great. And there's going to be some guest speakers there and things like that as well. So for that, we'll end the recording and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.